You are on your way to work. The road is moving. The city is waking up. Maybe there is a cup of coffee beside you, a phone within reach, and a long day waiting ahead. But before you walk into the office, the store, the warehouse, the hospital, the job site, or the first meeting of the morning, something else has already begun. Your mind has started working. It may already be thinking about emails you have not opened yet, deadlines you have not faced yet, bills you still need to pay, a conversation you are not ready to have, a mistake from yesterday, a problem that might happen today. And before the day has even touched you, your mind may already feel crowded, heavy, and pulled in too many directions. Welcome to Inner Power Audio. This is a place for calm strength, self-mastery, discipline, emotional control, and the quiet power that begins inside you. Here we do not chase loud motivation. We train the mind. We build inner control. We learn how to stay steady when life gets loud. Today's audio is called Control Your Mind Before Life Controls You. And if you are listening to this on your morning drive, stay with it until the end. Because by the end of this audio, you will understand something most people miss. Life does not take control of you all at once. It happens slowly, one thought at a time, one reaction at a time, one distracted morning at a time, one moment where stress takes the wheel and you do not notice until your mood, your focus, and your energy are already gone. Most people believe they lose control because life is too hard, but often they lose control because they never take command of their mind before the day begins. They wake up and give their attention away. They check messages before they check themselves. They let emails, news, traffic, money pressure, and other people's urgency become the first voice in their head. And once the world owns your attention, it becomes much easier for the world to shape your mood. Your life may not change in one morning, but your direction can. Because the way you enter a day matters. If you enter it anxious, every small problem feels heavier. If you enter it distracted, every task feels harder. If you enter it angry, every conversation feels like a threat. If you enter it defeated, every challenge looks bigger than it really is. But if you enter the day with a trained mind, something changes. You may still face pressure. You may still sit in traffic. You may still deal with difficult people. You may still open emails you do not want to answer. You may still carry responsibilities no one else can see. But pressure does not have to become your identity. Stress does not have to hold the wheel. A bad morning does not have to decide the whole day. And one difficult moment does not have to control the person you become. This is what we will work on today. You will learn how to take back your morning, protect your focus, separate stress from your decisions, pause before reacting, and build the discipline to stay steady when motivation disappears. Because the strongest person is not the one who never feels pressure. The strongest person is the one who feels pressure, sees it clearly, and still chooses who they are going to be. So before you step into work today, before the first message, before the first meeting, before the first problem, take this moment for yourself. Breathe, sit a little taller, loosen your grip. Notice your thoughts without obeying all of them. This day may be busy, it may be difficult, it may ask more from you than you expected, but it does not get to own your mind unless you hand it the keys. If this is the kind of audio you need in the morning, subscribe to Inner Power Audio and come back whenever life feels loud. Stay with this audio until the end, because by the time we finish, you will not just understand how to control your thoughts. You will understand how to become the kind of person life cannot easily control. This is Inner Power Audio. Let's begin. Control your mind before life controls you. Chapter 1. Your mind is the first place you go to work. Before you step into any building today, you step into a place no one else can see, your mind. That is the first workplace. Not the office, not the store, not the warehouse, not the hospital, not the job site, not the conference room where people are waiting for answers. The first place you report to is the space inside your own head. And if that place is already tense, crowded, defensive, or defeated, the rest of the day becomes harder before anything even happens. This is why so many people arrive at work already tired. Not because they have done too much, but because their mind has been working without direction. They have replayed old mistakes. They have predicted conversations that have not happened. They have imagined problems before seeing the facts. They have argued with people who are not even in the room yet. By the time they arrive, their body is present, but their mind has already spent half the morning fighting invisible battles. That is not weakness. That is what happens when the mind is left unmanaged. A trained mind does not mean a perfect mind. It does not mean you never feel pressure. It does not mean you wake up calm, focused, and ready for everything. A trained mind means you know how to return to command. You notice when your thoughts are running ahead of you. You notice when fear is turning one small task into a mountain. You notice when frustration is changing the way you see people. And instead of obeying every thought, you bring yourself back. That is the first discipline of the day. Before you manage your schedule, manage your state. Before you answer the first message, answer this: what kind of mind am I bringing into this day? Because the same job can feel completely different depending on the mind you bring to it. With a scattered mind, a normal email feels like pressure. With a defensive mind, a simple question sounds like criticism. With a tired mind, a small problem feels personal. With an anxious mind, a full schedule looks impossible. But with a steady mind, you see the same day differently. An email is just an email. A question is just a question. A delay is just a delay. A task is just the next thing to handle. The work may not become easy, but it becomes clearer, and clarity gives you power. Imagine this. You are sitting in the parking lot before work. The engine is off. Your hand is still on the steering wheel. You have 2 minutes before you walk inside. Most people waste that moment. They rush into the building carrying the whole day before the day has even begun. They walk in with yesterday's mistake, tomorrow's fear, and someone else's mood already living in their mind. But that small moment can become more than a pause. It can become the moment you stop letting the day enter before you are ready to lead it. You do not need a complicated routine. You do not need perfect silence. You do not need to feel inspired. You only need one clean question. What do I need to lead today? Not what do I fear today? Not who might upset me today? Not how hard will this day be? What do I need to lead? Maybe the answer is patience. Maybe it is focus. Maybe it is discipline. Maybe it is courage. Maybe it is silence. Maybe it is the ability to do the next right thing without making everything emotional. That one question brings your mind back into order. It reminds you that you are not walking into the day as a victim of whatever happens. You are walking in as someone responsible for your inner state. And responsibility is not a burden here. It is freedom. Because when you stop blaming the entire day for your mental state, you get power back. You may not control the workload. You may not control your boss's mood. You may not control a customer's behavior. You may not control traffic, delays, messages, or last-minute changes. But you can control the first command you give your mind. Stay clear. Stay steady. Handle one thing at a time. Do not turn every inconvenience into an identity. Do not turn every delay into a disaster. Do not turn every difficult person into proof that your day is ruined. This is how inner control begins, not with a dramatic life change, not with a perfect morning routine, not with some powerful feeling that suddenly appears. It begins with a simple decision. I will not let my mind walk into this day unmanaged. That decision may sound small. Small decisions repeated daily become inner strength. Every time you bring your mind back from panic, you build trust. Every time you choose clarity over chaos, you build discipline. Every time you pause before carrying stress into the next room, you become harder to control from the outside. That is the real beginning of self-mastery. It is not about controlling every event. It is about becoming the person who does not abandon themselves when events become difficult. So before you begin the next part of your day, remember this. Your mind is the first place you go to work. Keep that place clear. Keep it steady. Keep it under your command. Because if you can win the inner room before you enter the outer world, the day may still challenge you, but it will not own you so easily. And in the next chapter, we will look at one of the strongest forces that tries to take the wheel before you even realize it. Stress. Because stress does not only make you tired, it can quietly start making your decisions for you. Chapter 2. Don't let stress hold the wheel. Stress is not just something you feel. Stress is something that tries to lead. It changes your tone. It changes your timing. It changes your judgment. It changes the next move you make before you even realize you have made one. That is the real danger. Not that stress appears. Stress will appear. The danger is letting stress choose your words, your pace, your assumptions, and your decisions. This is why you must learn to recognize the moment stress reaches for the wheel. Not after the day has already taken over. Not after you have answered too sharply. Not after you have rushed into the wrong choice. Not after your mood has already become the driver. You need to notice it early, because stress does not always arrive as panic. Sometimes it arrives as impatience, sometimes as a tight jaw, sometimes as a short reply, sometimes as the sudden belief that everything must be handled right now. And once stress convinces you that everything is urgent, you stop choosing with clarity. You start reacting from pressure. Stress adds meaning before you have facts. A delay becomes disrespect. A message becomes pressure. A question becomes criticism. A full calendar becomes proof that you are falling behind. One mistake becomes evidence that you are failing. And when stress is holding the wheel, your mind does not ask, "What is true?" It asks, "What could go wrong?" That question can protect you in real danger. But most of your workday is not danger. Most of your workday is pressure. And pressure must be handled with clarity, not panic. Think about a normal morning. You are already a few minutes behind. Traffic is slower than expected. Your coffee is getting cold. Your phone lights up with a message from work. "Can we talk when you get in?" That is all the message says. But stress does not read it calmly. Stress reads it as a warning. Stress turns 5 words into a whole story. Maybe something went wrong. Maybe someone is upset. Maybe you made a mistake. Maybe this day is already going to be difficult. Before you even know the truth, your body tightens, your breathing changes, your thoughts speed up, and by the time you park car, you are no longer entering the day. You are entering the story stress created. This is how stress steals control. It does not always change what is happening. It changes the meaning you give to what is happening. A message may only be information. A delay may only be a delay. A question may only be a question. A busy schedule may only be a set of tasks. Stress adds the extra weight. Your job is to remove that weight before you act. This does not mean you ignore responsibility. It does not mean you pretend everything is fine. It does not mean you become passive, careless, or detached from reality. It means you refuse to let stress become the decision maker. There is a difference between responding to a problem and being driven by stress. When you respond to a problem, you see what is in front of you. When stress drives you, you react to what you fear might happen. When you respond, your words are measured. When stress drives you, your words become sharp. When you respond, you handle one thing at a time. When stress drives you, everything feels connected, heavy, and personal. This is why one of the strongest skills you can build is the ability to pause before stress speaks for you. A pause is not weakness. A pause is control returning to your hands. Before you answer the message, pause. Before the meeting, pause. Before the phone call, pause. Before you assume the worst, pause. Let control return before stress chooses your next move. In that pause, ask better questions. What is actually happening? What am I assuming? What do I know for sure? What is the next useful action? These questions bring the mind back from emotional speed. They separate fact from fear. They help you see the difference between a real problem and a stressful story about the problem. This is where control begins, not by removing stress from life, but by removing stress from the driver's seat. You may still feel pressure. You may still have deadlines. You may still have bills to pay. You may still have people depending on you. You may still face moments that test your patience. But pressure can be present without being in charge. Stress can ride with you. It can warn you. It can signal that something needs attention. But it does not get to steer your life. The next time you feel stress rising, do not immediately obey it. Name it. Say to yourself, "This is stress," not "This is who I am." Not, "This is how the whole day will go." Not, "Everything is falling apart." Just this is stress. That simple sentence creates distance, and distance gives you choice. Once you name it, slow the body down, relax your jaw, drop your shoulders, take one deeper breath than usual, then choose one clean action, not 10. 1. Send the message, ask the question, write the list, make the call, start the first task, handle the next right thing. Stress wants you to carry the whole day at once. Control asks you to carry only the next step. That is how you take the wheel back. One clear action at a time, and the more you practice this, the more your mind begins to trust you. It learns that pressure does not mean panic. It learns that a hard moment does not mean a bad day. It learns that discomfort does not have to become disorder. It learns that you can feel stress without becoming stress. That is inner power, not the absence of pressure, the ability to stay in command while pressure is present. So today, when stress appears, do not treat it like the truth. Treat it like a signal to slow down, a signal to return to your body, a signal to separate fact from fear, a signal to choose the next right action. Because stress is allowed to visit, it is not allowed to lead. Stress can sit in the passenger seat, but it does not get to hold the wheel. And in the next chapter, we will go to the place where control is often won or lost before the workday fully begins, your morning. Because if you do not own your morning, the world will own your attention before you even realize you gave it away. Chapter 3. Own your morning before the world owns you. Your morning is not just the beginning of your day. It is the first battle for your attention. Before anyone asks for your time, the world asks for your mind. A notification, a message, a headline, a calendar reminder. A small sound from your phone that tells your brain, "Look here first." And many people obey before they realize they have surrendered. They wake up and hand the first minutes of their mind to everyone else. They check what other people want. They read what other people think. They open problems they are not ready to solve. They let the world walk into their head before they have even stood firmly inside themselves. That is how the day begins for millions of people. Not with intention, with invasion. And when your morning begins with invasion, your attention starts the day in pieces. A part of you is in the message. A part of you is in the calendar. A part of you is in someone else's urgency. A part of you is comparing your life to a screen. Then you wonder why you feel tired before the real work begins. It is not always because the day is too heavy. Sometimes it is because your mind was divided too early. This is why protecting your morning matters. Not because you need a perfect routine. Not because you need to wake up at 5 a.m. Not because every successful person follows the same schedule. But because the first attention you give away becomes the tone of the day. If the first thing you feed your mind is urgency, you will feel rushed. If the first thing you feed your mind is comparison, you will feel behind. If the first you feed your mind is conflict, you will feel defensive. If the first thing you feed your mind is noise, you will struggle to hear your own direction. Your morning teaches your mind what to follow. And if you do not choose it, the world will choose it for you. This does not mean you ignore responsibility. It does not mean you never check your phone. It does not mean you pretend work, family, bills, or deadlines do not exist. It means you do not let them become the first authority over your state. There is a difference between checking your phone and being controlled by it. There is a difference between preparing for work and mentally surrendering to work before you arrive. There is a difference between being responsible and being available to everyone before you are available to yourself. That difference begins in the morning. For many people, the first mistake is not opening the phone. The first mistake is opening it with no boundary, no intention, no question, no command. They let the screen decide the first emotion of the day. One email creates tension. One post creates comparison. One headline creates anger. One message pulls them into a problem before they have even chosen who they want to be. You do not need to live that way. Even if you only have 10 minutes before work, you can still own the entrance to your day. Even if you have kids to get ready, traffic to face, a shift to start, or a meeting waiting, you can still create one protected space inside the morning. It may be small, but small is enough when it is intentional. Before the phone becomes the first voice, give your mind one command. Today I will move with clarity. Today I will not rush my spirit just because the world is rushing. Today I will handle one thing at a time. Today I will not let the first problem become the whole story. You do not have to say those exact words, but you need some kind of inner direction. Because without direction, attention follows noise, and noise is everywhere. So build one simple morning boundary. Before you check the outside world, check your inner state. 30 seconds is enough. Sit still. Take one slow breath. Ask yourself, what do I want to protect today? Maybe it is your focus. Maybe it is your patience. Maybe it is your peace. Maybe it is your discipline. Maybe it is your ability to stay calm when people around you are rushing. Then choose one sentence that will guide the first part of your day. Not a long speech. One sentence. I will not let urgency control my mood. I will do one thing at a time. I will walk into work steady. I will not give my attention to everything that asks for it. That sentence becomes a mental boundary. It gives your mind a direction before the world gives it noise. Think about the drive to work. You are in the car. The road is ahead. The day is waiting. This can be more than transportation. It can become a mental reset. You can use the drive to rehearse stress. Or you can use it to return to yourself. You can spend the whole commute imagining what might go wrong. Or you can ask, what kind of person do I want to be when I walk in? That question changes the drive. It turns the car into a quiet training room, not because the road becomes peaceful, not because traffic disappears, not because work becomes easier, but because you stop using the morning to practice anxiety. You start using it to practice command, and command is built in simple ways. Lower the noise. Choose the first thought on purpose. Breathe before you enter the next place. Decide what deserves your attention. Refuse to let every notification become an order. This is not complicated, but it is rare. Most people begin the day as if their mind belongs to whoever reaches it first. A screen reaches it. A deadline reaches it. A fear reaches it. A memory reaches it. Then they spend the rest of the day trying to recover the control they gave away in the first hour. You can do something different. Treat your morning like a gate. Not everything gets in immediately. Not every thought gets permission. Not every message gets your energy. Not every problem gets to define your mood. Before the world enters, you stand at the gate. You choose what comes in. First, that is how a strong day begins, not with perfection. With protection. Protect the first few minutes. Protect the first voice in your head. Protect the first decision you make about who you are going to be today. Because your morning is not only about time, it is about authority. Who gets authority over your mind first? The world, your stress, your screen, your fear, or you? The answer to that question shapes more than your morning. It shapes your focus, your patience, your tone, your discipline. your ability to stay steady when the day gets loud. So before you give the world your attention, give yourself direction. Before you walk into work, choose the state you want to carry. Not perfect, not fake, not forced, chosen. Because a chosen mind is harder to control, a protected morning is harder to steal. And a person who owns the first part of the day does not enter the world already defeated. They enter with command. Own your morning before the world owns you. And in the next chapter, we will protect the thing every distraction wants to take from you, your focus. Because your attention is not just a mental habit, it is one of the most valuable assets you have. Chapter 4. Protect your focus like it pays your bills. Your focus is not just a mental skill, it is an asset. It affects the quality of your work, the speed of your decisions, the trust people place in you, and the opportunities that come your way. That is why you cannot treat your attention like something cheap. You cannot leave it open to every sound, every message, every interruption, every small request, and still expect to feel strong at the end of the day. Focus has a cost. Every time you switch from one task to another, your mind pays. Every time you stop meaningful work to check something small, your mind pays. Every time you let distraction pull you away from what matters, your future pays. Not at once, slowly, quietly, one broken hour at a time. Most people do not lose their focus in one dramatic moment. They lose it in pieces. A quick check, a tab left open, a conversation that did not need to happen, a message answered before the important work was done, a task started interrupted and left unfinished. By the middle of the day, they feel busy, but not productive, tired but not proud, active but not clear. And that is one of the most dangerous feelings in modern work. The feeling that you were moving all day, but not building anything that truly mattered. Imagine this. You sit down to finish one report, one project, one important task. You know it matters. You know it would make the day feel successful. Then a message appears. You check it quickly. Then another tab opens. Then you remember a smaller task. Then someone asks a question. Then you answer one email. 30 minutes later, the important work is still sitting there, untouched. But your mind already feels tired. That is not because you worked deeply. It is because your attention was pulled in too many directions. A divided mind leaks energy. A focused mind builds power. This is why you must protect your focus like it pays your bills. Because in many ways it does. Your focus helps you finish the project. It helps you listen better in a meeting. It helps you catch the detail others miss. It helps you become known as someone reliable, and reliability creates trust. Trust creates opportunity. Opportunity can change the direction of a life. Focus is not only about getting more done. It is about becoming the kind of person people can count on. The kind of person who does not need chaos to feel important. The kind of person who can sit with one task long enough to make it excellent. The kind of person who keeps their mind where their responsibility is. But the world does not make this easy. Your phone wants your attention. Your inbox wants your attention. Other people may want your attention. Your boredom wants your attention. Even your fear wants your attention. Because sometimes distraction is not outside you. Sometimes distraction is a way to avoid discomfort. You avoid the hard task by checking something easy. You avoid the difficult email by organizing something that does not matter. You avoid the decision by opening another tab. You avoid starting by telling yourself you are still preparing. But preparation becomes procrastination when it never turns into action. And that is where many people lose the day. Not because they are lazy, but because they let their attention move toward whatever feels easier than the thing that matters. This is where self-mastery becomes practical. You do not need to control the whole world. You need to control the next block of attention. Choose one important task. Make it clear. Write it down if you have to. Not 10. 1. Ask yourself, what is the one thing that would make today more successful if I completed it? Not the easiest thing. Not the loudest thing. not the most urgent-looking thing, the most important thing. Then protect a clean block of time for it. Even 30 minutes can change the direction of a day if those 30 minutes are focused. Clean means no unnecessary tabs, no random checking, no switching every few minutes, no pretending to work while feeding every distraction. Clean means your mind knows where to stay. This is how focus is trained, not by wishing you were more focused, by removing what keeps breaking it. If the phone pulls you, move it. If notifications interrupt you, silence them. If your workspace is full of visual noise, clear one small area. If you keep jumping between tasks, choose one starting point and stay there longer than your discomfort wants you to. Focus is not found. Focus is protected, and protection requires boundaries. A boundary with your phone, a boundary with your inbox, a boundary with people who interrupt without purpose, a boundary with your own habit of escaping when the work becomes hard. This does not mean you become rude. It does not mean you ignore people. It does not mean you act like nothing else matters. It means you respect the work enough to give it your full mind. There is a calm confidence in a focused person. They are not always the loudest. They are not always the fastest, but they are present. They listen. They finish. They follow through. They bring their full attention to the moment in front of them. That presence is rare, and because it is rare, it becomes valuable. In a distracted world, the person who can stay with one meaningful thing has an advantage. Not because they are smarter, but because they are less divided. So today, protect one block of attention. Choose one task that matters. Give it a beginning and an end. Tell your mind, this is where we stay. When the urge to check something else appears, notice it. Do not immediately obey it. When boredom appears, stay a little longer. When discomfort appears, breathe and continue. When the mind looks for an exit, bring it back to the work. That is discipline in real time, not dramatic, not loud, not impressive to anyone watching, but powerful. Because every time you return your attention to what matters, you train your mind to stop being owned by whatever is loudest. You become harder to distract, harder to pull, harder to control, and slowly your work begins to change. Your confidence changes. Your standards change. Your results change. Because attention is never neutral. It is always building something. The only question is your attention building your future, or is distraction spending it for you? Protect your focus like it pays your bills. Because your attention is not just a mental habit. It is one of the most valuable assets you have. And in the next chapter, we will go deeper into what happens when distraction becomes more than a moment. We will look at the patterns that keep you small. Because if you repeat the same weak pattern long enough, it stops feeling like a habit. It starts feeling like who you are. Chapter 5. Break the pattern that keeps you small. Most people are not held back by one massive failure. They are held back by patterns. Small patterns, repeated patterns. Quiet patterns that feel normal because they have been practiced for so long. The way you wake up and expect the day to be heavy before it begins. The way you see a difficult task and immediately look for something easier. The way you feel pressure and reach for your phone. The way you receive feedback and turn it into proof that you are not good enough. The way one bad moment becomes permission to lose the entire day. These patterns may not look dramatic. No one else may even notice them. But inside your life, they become powerful. Because what you repeat, you begin to believe. And what you believe, you begin to become. This is how a pattern turns into an identity. At first you say, I avoided the task today. Then it becomes, I always avoid hard things. At first you say, I was nervous in that meeting. Then it becomes, I am not good under pressure. At first you say, I had a bad morning. Then it becomes, my life is always like this. That is the danger. A pattern repeated long enough stops feeling like something you do. It starts feeling like who you are. And once that happens, people stop challenging the pattern. They protect it, they explain it, they build a story around it. They say, "This is just how I am." But many times it is not who you are. It is what you have practiced, and what has been practiced can be retrained. That is where your power returns. You do not need to rebuild your whole life in one day. You need to interrupt one weak pattern at the moment it appears. Not tomorrow, not when you feel ready, not when work slows down, not when life becomes easier. At the moment it appears. Because the pattern does not need a full day to take control. It only needs your automatic agreement. Think about someone walking into work on a Monday morning. They sit down, open the laptop, and see the one project they have been avoiding. It matters. It has been sitting there for days. Finishing it would bring relief. But the moment they look at it, discomfort rises. So the old pattern begins. Check one email first. Open one tab. Organize the desk. Answer a smaller message. Look busy. Feel busy. Call it preparation. But deep down, the same pattern is running. Avoid the thing that makes me uncomfortable. 30 minutes pass. Then an hour. The important task is still there. Only now it feels heavier. Not because the task changed, because the pattern was obeyed again. Every time you avoid the thing that matters, you train your mind to fear it more. Every time you delay the hard conversation, you make it larger in your imagination. Every time you let pressure push you into distraction, you teach yourself that discomfort is something to escape. And after enough repetition, escape starts to feel like your personality. But it is not your personality, it is a pattern, and a pattern can be broken. The same is true with emotional patterns. Someone gives you feedback. Maybe your manager says, "Can you revise this? That is all." A simple request. But the old pattern hears something else. You failed. You are not respected. You are not good at this. You are behind everyone else. Now you are not responding to feedback. You are responding to the story your pattern created around feedback. And because the story hurts, you become defensive, or quiet, or discouraged, or distracted for the rest of the day. The feedback was one moment, but the pattern turned it into an identity attack. This is how people lose control without realizing it. Not because one event destroyed them, but because an old pattern interpreted the event for them. That is why awareness is so important. You cannot break a pattern you keep calling your personality. You cannot interrupt what you refuse to notice. You cannot change what you keep defending. So the first step is not judgment, it is recognition. When the old pattern appears, do not attack yourself. Do not say, "What is wrong with me?" Say, "I recognize this." That sentence matters. It creates space. It turns the pattern from identity into information. I recognize this. This is the moment where I usually avoid. This is the moment where I usually rush. This is the moment where I usually complain. This is the moment where I usually turn feedback into shame. This is the moment where I usually let one problem ruin my mood. Recognition gives you a choice, and choice where self-mastery begins. Once you recognize the pattern, choose one different action. Small, clear, immediate. If you usually avoid the task, work on it for 5 minutes. Not until it is perfect. 5 minutes. Open the document. Write the first line, make the first call, create the first outline. Start badly if you have to. But start. If you usually complain, write down the next useful step. Not what is unfair. Not who is wrong. Not why the day is hard. The next useful step. If you usually check your phone when pressure appears, put it down and take one breath. Let the discomfort exist without obeying it. If you usually walk into work already defeated, sit in the car for 30 seconds and give your mind one command. Today, I will not let an old pattern choose my state. If you usually turn feedback into shame, ask one better question. What can I improve here? That question pulls you out of identity and back into action. And action is where patterns begin to weaken. One different action breaks the automatic chain. Not forever, not perfectly, but enough to prove something important. You are not trapped, you are trainable. And when the mind sees proof, identity begins to shift. You stop saying, "This is just how I am." You start saying, "This is something I am learning to change." That shift may feel small, but it is powerful. Because the moment you stop defending the old pattern, you make room for a new standard. A new standard says, "I do not need to obey every familiar reaction. I do not need to repeat yesterday's version of myself. I do not need to let old habits decide today's direction. I can interrupt the pattern. I can choose the next action. I can become someone my mind can trust." That is how real growth happens, not by becoming perfect, but by becoming conscious. Conscious of what you repeat, conscious of what you excuse, conscious of what you allow to shape your day. And once you become conscious, you can no longer pretend you have no choice. You may not be able to change every condition around you, but you can change the pattern you bring into those conditions. That is the beginning of control. Not control over everything, control over the next response, control over the next 5 minutes, control over the next small decision that tells your mind, "We are not doing it the old way anymore." So today, look for one pattern that keeps you small, not 10, 1. Find the moment where it begins. The first thought, the first excuse, the first pull toward distraction, the first familiar story, the first sentence that makes you feel smaller than you are. Then interrupt it. Do one thing differently, one small act of leadership over yourself. Because you do not become stronger in one dramatic moment. You become stronger every time you refuse to let an old pattern speak for your future. Break the pattern that keeps you small, and in the next chapter, we step into the next test. Because breaking the pattern is only the beginning. The real test is staying clear when pressure gets loud. Chapter 6. Think clearly. When pressure gets loud, pressure has a way of making everything feel bigger than it is. One email feels like an emergency. One mistake feels like a disaster. One question from your boss feels like judgment. One unexpected change feels like the whole day falling apart. And when pressure gets loud, the first thing many people lose is not time. It is clarity. They stop seeing the situation as it is. They start seeing it through fear. They move faster, but not better. They speak sooner, but not wiser. They make decisions from tension instead of truth. That is why clear thinking is one of the most important skills you can build. Not clear thinking when life is quiet. Clear thinking when life gets loud. Because anyone can sound wise after the problem is over. Anyone can feel calm when there is no consequence. Anyone can say the right thing when nothing is pressing them. The real test is different. Can you stay clear when the inbox is full? Can you stay clear when the meeting turns uncomfortable? Can you stay clear when the plan changes at the last minute? Can you stay clear when your schedule breaks and your mind wants to rush into the first reaction available? That is where inner power is built, not in perfect conditions, in pressured ones. Most people confuse speed with control. When pressure rises, they think they need to move faster. Answer faster, explain faster, fix everything faster. But speed without clarity only spreads the chaos. A fast mind can still be a confused mind. A quick answer can still be the wrong answer. A rushed decision can create a bigger problem than the one you were trying to solve. So when pressure gets loud, your first job is not to move faster. Your first job is to see clearly. Use this 4-step reset. Stop. Name. Separate. Act. Simple enough to remember. Strong enough to bring your mind back under command. First, stop. Not forever. Just long enough to interrupt emotional speed. 1 breath. 1 second of stillness. 1 moment where you refuse to be dragged by the first impulse. Before you answer. Before you explain. Before you defend yourself. Before you decide the day is ruined. Stop. That pause does not solve the problem. It gives you enough space to see the problem. Second, name it. Not the fear around it, not the story around it, the actual problem. Say it simply. The report needs 1 revision. The meeting moved. The client is asking for clarification. I missed 1 detail. I have 3 tasks competing for attention. Naming the problem makes it smaller. not because it disappears, but because it becomes specific, and specific problems can be handled. Vague panic cannot. Third, separate fact from story. Fact is what happened. Story is what your mind adds. Fact says there is a deadline. Story says, I am going to fail. Fact says, my manager asked for a revision. Story says, they do not trust me. Fact says, the schedule changed. Story says, this whole day is ruined. Fact says, I made one mistake. Story says, I always mess things up. If you do not separate them, fear will speak like truth. And once fear sounds like truth, your choices become smaller. You defend yourself when you should listen. You rush when you should think. You avoid when you should act. You blame when you should learn. This is where most people lose control without realizing it. They are not reacting to reality. They are reacting to the story pressure created inside their mind. Fourth, act. Not perfectly, not dramatically, clearly. Choose the next right action. Send the update. Ask the question. Clarify the deadline. Write the first paragraph. Make the call. Correct the detail. Apologize if needed. Take the next step that moves the situation forward. Do not try to carry the whole day at once. Do not try to solve every possible problem in your head. Do not let pressure collapse everything into one giant weight. Handle the next right thing. That is how clear thinking works under pressure. Stop, name, separate, act. It gives your mind something stronger than panic to follow. Think about a normal workday. You are in the middle of one task when another request comes in. Then a meeting gets added. Then someone asks for an update. Then you remember something you forgot. Your mind wants to turn all of it into one heavy sentence. Everything is too much. But clear thinking asks a better question. What actually needs my attention next? Maybe the next thing is sending a short reply. Maybe it is finishing the task already in front of you. Maybe it is writing down the new request so it stops spinning in your head. Maybe it is telling someone, I can handle this after I finish the current priority. That is not weakness. That is order. A clear mind creates order before action. A pressured mind creates action without order. And that difference changes everything. You do not need to win the whole day in one move. You need to stop letting the whole day attack you at once. Pressure wants to collapse everything. Clarity separates the pieces. This is one task. This is one conversation. This is one correction. This is one next step. When you break pressure into pieces, you take away its power to control the entire mood of your day. This does not make you emotionless. You may still feel tense. You may still feel frustrated. You may still feel tired. You may still wish things were easier. But you do not have to let those feelings run the meeting inside your mind. You can feel pressure and still think clearly. You can feel urgency and still choose wisely. You can feel discomfort and still act with discipline. That is the standard, not perfect calm, clear command. The next time pressure rises, do not immediately trust the volume of your thoughts. Loud does not mean true. Fast does not mean right. Emotional does not mean accurate. Ask yourself, what is the fact? What is the story? What is the next right action? Those three questions can save you from dozens of unnecessary reactions. They can keep you from sending the wrong message. They can keep you from taking feedback personally. They can keep you from turning one hard moment into a whole bad day. They can keep you from abandoning your standards just because pressure got loud. Because pressure will get loud. That is not the question. The question is, will you get louder with it, or will you get clearer? Most people mirror the chaos around them. When the room gets tense, they tense up. When people rush, they rush. When someone speaks sharply, they sharpen their voice too. When the day becomes messy, their mind becomes messy with it. But you are training something different. You are training the ability to become the calmest part of a loud moment. Not passive, not detached, not silent because you are afraid. Calm enough to see, clear enough to choose, steady enough to act. That kind of person changes the energy of a room. They do not add panic to pressure. They do not add noise to confusion. They bring order. and order is powerful. So today, when pressure gets loud, practice seeing clearly. Stop before you speed up. Name the problem before you obey the fear. Separate fact from story before you decide what it means. Choose the next right action before your mind tries to carry the entire day at once. This is how you stay in command when the day tests you. This is how you keep your mind from being owned by the loudest moment. This is how you control your mind before life controls you. Think clearly when pressure gets loud. And in the next chapter, we will talk about what carries you forward when clarity is not enough by itself. Because some days you will know what to do, but you will not feel like doing it. That is when motivation disappears, and discipline must take the lead. Chapter 7. Build discipline when motivation is gone. Motivation is not reliable. Some mornings you feel ready, some mornings you feel sharp. Some mornings you wake up with energy, direction, and a clear sense of purpose. But other mornings are different. You feel tired, you feel heavy. You do not want to talk to anyone. You do not want to answer messages. You do not want to walk into work. You do not want to carry responsibility. You do not want to be strong. And that is where many people lose control. Not because they do not know what to do, but because they only do it when they feel like doing it. That is not discipline. That is emotional permission. If you only act when motivation is present, your life will always be controlled by your mood. And mood changes, mood rises, mood drops. Mood gets affected by sleep, traffic, weather, bills, people, stress, and 100 things you cannot fully control. So if your entire standard depends on mood, your standard will never be stable. This is why discipline matters. Discipline is not punishment. Discipline is not being hard on yourself for no reason. Discipline is the ability to do what matters, even when the feeling is not there. It is the quiet decision to keep a promise after the emotion that made the promise has disappeared. That is inner strength, not the loud kind, the reliable kind. The kind no one sees when you get out of bed tired and still show up. The kind no one applauds when you finish the task instead of avoiding it. The kind no one notices when you keep your tone professional, even though you are frustrated. The kind no one celebrates when you choose the right action while your mind is begging for the easy one. But those moments matter. They are not small. They are proof. Every disciplined action tells your mind, you can trust me. Every time you do what you said you would do, you build self-respect. Every time you follow through without needing perfect emotion, you become less controlled by the weather inside your head. That is the real value of discipline. It gives your mind evidence that you are not a person who only moves when life feels good. You are a person who moves because your standards are stronger than your mood. Think about a normal workday. You know the task that needs to be done. It is not exciting. It is not new. It may not even feel meaningful in the moment, but it matters. It keeps the project moving. It keeps your reputation clean. It keeps your responsibilities in order. It keeps your future from becoming heavier. Motivation says, do it when you feel ready. Discipline says, start now. Small is enough. Motivation says, wait for energy. Discipline says, action creates energy. Motivation says, this is uncomfortable. Discipline says, discomfort is not a stop sign. This is where you must train yourself, not to become emotionless, but to stop letting every feeling vote on your future. You can feel tired and still begin. You can feel uncertain and still ask the question. You can feel unmotivated and still complete the next step. You can feel bored and still stay with the work long enough to finish. This is not about forcing yourself into burnout. It is about refusing to let comfort become your leader. There is a difference. Burnout ignores limits. Discipline respects standards. Burnout says, destroy yourself to prove something. Discipline says, do the next right thing with steadiness. Burnout is chaos wearing the mask of ambition. Discipline is order, and order is what gives you freedom. Because the more disciplined you become, the less your life depends on emotional luck. You no longer need the perfect morning. You no longer need the perfect mood. You no longer need everything to feel easy before you move. You create movement first. Then the feeling follows. So today, when motivation is gone, do not ask, how do I make myself feel inspired? Ask a stronger question. What is the smallest disciplined action I can take right now? Not the biggest action. Not the most impressive action. The smallest real one. Open the document. Send the message. Clean the workspace. Walk into the meeting prepared. Complete the first 10 minutes. Make the call. Write the list. Start the task before your mind has time to negotiate its way out. That small action matters because it breaks the dependence on mood. It tells your mind, we do not wait for perfect feelings here. We move by standard. And standard is what separates people who grow from people who keep restarting. Most people restart their discipline every Monday, every new month, every new year, every time life gets uncomfortable enough to make them promise change. But the people who actually change learn to stop restarting. They build a standard they can return to, even after a bad day, even after a weak morning, even after they fall off once. Discipline is not never slipping. Discipline is returning faster. That is important. You will not perform perfectly every day. No one does. There will be days you lose focus, days you react poorly, days you avoid something, days you feel tired and choose the easy way. But discipline does not ask you to worship failure. It asks you to return. Return to the task, return to the standard, return to the promise. Return before one weak moment becomes a weak identity. That is how you build a mind you can trust. Not by being perfect, by being consistent enough that your mind learns you are serious. So when motivation disappears, do not panic. That is not the end of your progress. That is the beginning of your training. Because discipline only becomes real when motivation is not carrying you. Today, choose one standard. One. Maybe it is finishing what you start. Maybe it is showing up on time. Maybe it is not checking your phone during the first work block. Maybe it is speaking calmly under pressure. Maybe it is doing the hard task before the easy one. Choose it, protect it. Practice it when the feeling is gone. That is how inner strength becomes natural, not through one emotional breakthrough. Through repeated proof. You are not rising by chance, you are rising by choice. Build discipline when motivation is gone. And in the next chapter, we will look at something even quieter. The thoughts you keep feeding. Because even a disciplined person can become drained if they keep giving energy to thoughts that weaken them. Chapter 8. Stop feeding the thoughts that drain you. Not every thought deserves your belief. Not every thought deserves your attention. Not every thought deserves a seat at the table of your life. Some thoughts are useful. They warn you, they guide you, they help you prepare, they help you reflect, they help you improve. But other thoughts only drain you. They repeat without helping. They scare without guiding. They criticize without teaching. They take your energy but give you no direction. And if you feed those thoughts long enough, they begin to feel like truth. That is why you must learn to separate a thought from a command. A thought can appear without being obeyed. A thought can be loud without being wise. A thought can feel familiar without being accurate. This matters because many people do not lose their day because of what happens. They lose it because of what they keep telling themselves about what happens. They wake up and think, I am already behind. They see someone else doing well and think, I am not enough. They face one difficult task and think, I cannot handle this. They make one mistake and think, this always happens to me. They feel tired and think, I am weak. And then they carry those thoughts into work like invisible weight. No one else can see it, but they feel it in their posture, in their tone, in their patience, in their energy. In the way they enter a room already smaller than they need to be. This is how draining thoughts work. They do not always stop you all at once. They lower you slowly. They make you hesitate. They make you doubt your voice. They make you avoid the next step. They make normal pressure feel personal. They make you act like the day is already lost before it has fully begun. But here is the truth. You are not required to feed every thought that enters your mind. Feeding a thought means giving it more time, more attention, more evidence, more emotion, more authority than it deserves. A thought appears. I am falling behind. You feed it by looking for every reason it might be true. You remember old mistakes. You compare yourself to other people. You imagine the future going wrong. You replay what you should have done years ago. Now the thought is no longer passing through. It is sitting in control. Another thought appears. I cannot handle today. You feed it by scanning the whole day at once. Every task, every meeting, every bill, every responsibility, every possible problem. And now your mind is exhausted before your hands have done anything. This is why overthinking feels like work. Because mentally, you are carrying things that are not meant to be carried all at once. You are not solving, you are spinning, and spinning drains energy. The answer is not to fight every thought. That only keeps you locked in the same room with it. The answer is to stop feeding what weakens you and return to what gives direction. When a draining thought appears, ask, does this thought help me act better? Does this thought make me clearer? Does this thought move me toward the next right step? Or does it only make me smaller? That question matters, because some thoughts pretend to be preparation, but they are only fear in a productive costume. They sound responsible, they sound careful, they sound realistic. But if they only leave you frozen, ashamed, or exhausted, they are not helping you lead your life. They are consuming your strength. You need a new practice. Notice the thought, name the effect, choose the direction. For example, the thought says, I am not good enough. Name the effect. This thought is making me shrink. Choose the direction. What is one skill I can improve today? The thought says, this day is too much. Name the effect. This thought is making me carry everything at once. Choose the direction. What is the next thing I can handle? The thought says, I should be further ahead. Name the effect. This thought is turning comparison into pressure. Choose the direction. What can I do with the day I actually have? This is how you stop feeding thoughts that drain you. You do not deny them. You do not pretend they never appear. You do not shame yourself for having them. You simply refuse to build a home around them. A thought can visit. It does not have to move in. A fear can speak. It does not have to lead. A doubt can appear. It does not have to become your identity. This is inner control, not a silent mind, a directed mind. A mind that knows which thoughts deserve attention and which ones only want energy. Today, pay attention to the thoughts you repeat, especially the ones that feel normal. The thoughts you have said so many times that they no longer sound like thoughts. They sound like facts. I am bad at this. I always mess up. I never finish. I cannot stay focused. I am too far behind. Those sentences are not harmless. They train the mind. If you repeat weakness long enough, weakness starts to feel natural. So replace the sentence, not with fake positivity, with useful truth. Instead of I am bad at this, say, I am learning this. Instead of I always mess up, say, I can correct this. Instead of I never finish, say, I can finish one thing today. Instead of I cannot stay focused, say, I can return my attention one more time. Instead of I am too far behind, say, I can still take the next step. That is not lying to yourself. That is leading yourself. You are not pretending life is easy. You are choosing words that make action possible. Because the wrong thought can drain you, but the right thought can direct you. So today, stop giving energy to thoughts that only weaken you. Do not feed every fear. Do not rehearse every failure. Do not turn every doubt into a decision. Keep your mind clear enough to move. Keep your language strong enough to guide you. Keep your attention close to the next action. Because one of the greatest acts of self-mastery is learning which thoughts to stop feeding. And in the next chapter, we will move from thoughts to moments. Because even when your thinking is stronger, the day will still test your emotions. Someone will say something. Something will not go as planned. A trigger will appear. And in that moment, your power will live in the pause before your response. Chapter 9, I pause before the day takes your mood. A day can change quickly. One comment, one delay, one tone of voice, one unexpected request. One person who brings their frustration into the room. And suddenly, your mood is no longer yours. You were steady. Then you were irritated. You were focused. Then you were defensive. You were calm. Then you were replaying one sentence in your head for the next 3 hours. This is how many people lose control during the day. Not because something huge happened, because something small got inside them and started driving. A coworker speaks sharply. A customer is rude. A manager asks a question at the wrong time. A meeting feels tense. Someone interrupts you. A task changes after you already planned your day, and the mind reacts before wisdom has a chance to speak. That is why the pause matters. The pause is the space where you keep your power. Without a pause, the trigger becomes the leader. With a pause, you get to choose. Most people think power means reacting strongly, answering fast, defending immediately, matching someone's tone, making sure they know you are not weak. But real power is not losing yourself just because someone else lost control of their tone. Real power is being able to feel the heat and still choose your direction. This does not mean you become silent out of fear. It does not mean you let people disrespect you. It does not mean you avoid hard conversations. It means your response comes from command, not impulse. There is a difference. Impulse says, say it now. Command says, say it clearly. Impulse says, match their energy. Command says, keep your standard. Impulse says, make them feel what you feel. Command says, do not become what you are trying to correct. That is self-mastery in real time. Not when you are alone. Not when life is quiet. But in the moment when your nervous system wants to take over. Think about a moment at work. Someone sends a message that feels disrespectful. Your body reacts, your chest tightens, your jaw sets, your mind prepares a response. You want to type quickly, you want to prove your point, you want to defend your name. But if you send the message from that state, you are not responding to the issue. You are releasing the emotion, and that usually creates a second problem. Now the original issue remains, but your reaction has added weight. This is why the pause is not optional. It is protection. Protection for your peace, protection for your reputation, protection for your relationships, protection for the person you are trying to become. Before you answer, pause. Before you raise your voice, pause. Before you assume the worst, pause. Before you turn one moment into a story about the whole day, pause. 3 seconds can change the direction of a response. In those 3 seconds, ask, what am I about to protect, my ego or my standard? That question is powerful because many reactions are not about truth. They are about ego trying to defend itself from discomfort. Ego wants to win the moment. Wisdom wants to protect the future. Ego wants to be right immediately. Wisdom wants to respond in a way you can respect later. Ego wants volume. Wisdom wants clarity. When you pause, you give wisdom time to arrive. That does not make you passive, it makes you precise. A controlled response can still be firm. A calm voice can still have boundaries. A steady person can still say, that does not work for me. They can say, let's keep this respectful. They can say, I need clarification before I respond. They can say, I will handle this after I finish the current priority. They can say, I understand the issue. Here is the next step. Calm does not mean weak. Calm means you are not letting the moment pull you below your standard. The goal is not to avoid every emotional reaction. The goal is to catch yourself earlier. At first, you may only notice after you react. That is still awareness. Then you begin to notice during the reaction. That is progress. Eventually, you notice before the reaction takes over. That is control. This is training, and like all training, it improves through repetition. Each time you pause, you teach your mind that a trigger is not a command. A rude person is not a command. A sharp email is not a command. A delay is not a command. A change of plans is not a command. A difficult moment is not a command. It is information. And information does not have to own your mood. Today, practice protecting your mood before the day takes it, not by pretending nothing bothers you, but by refusing to hand your entire inner state to every outside event. If someone is impatient, you do not have to become impatient. If someone is careless, you do not have to become careless. If someone brings tension, you do not have to carry it. If the day changes, you do not have to collapse with it. You can pause, you can breathe, you can lower the emotional temperature. You can choose the response that matches your standard, not the trigger. That is where your power lives. Not in controlling every person, not in preventing every problem, not in making every day smooth. Your power lives in the space between what happens and who you choose to be next. So when the day tries to take your mood, do not give it away quickly. Hold the pause. Return to your standard. Choose the response you will respect tonight when the day is over. Because a controlled mind is not a mind that feels nothing. It is a mind that does not let every feeling become the leader. Pause before the day takes your mood. And in the next chapter, we will bring everything together. Because when you control your morning, your focus, your discipline, your thoughts, and your response, you begin to become someone life cannot easily control. Chapter 10. Become the person life cannot easily control. The goal was never to create an easy life. The goal was to create a trained mind. A life without pressure is not realistic. A life without difficult people is not realistic. A life without delays, mistakes, bills, responsibilities, deadlines, and unexpected problems is not realistic. But becoming someone who is not easily controlled by those things is realistic. That is the work. Not escaping life, not avoiding pressure, not pretending emotions do not exist, but becoming steady enough that life does not get to decide who you are every time it becomes difficult. Look at what you have been building. When you understand that your mind is the first place you go to work, you stop walking into the day unmanaged. When you stop letting stress hold the wheel, you stop letting pressure make your decisions for you. When you own your morning, you stop giving the first authority over your mind to the world. When you protect your focus, you stop letting distractions spend the energy your future needs. When you break weak patterns, you stop repeating yesterday's limits as if they are your identity. When you think clearly under pressure, you stop confusing fear with truth. When you build discipline without motivation, you stop waiting for mood to give you permission. When you stop feeding draining thoughts, you stop giving weakness a louder voice than action. When you pause before reacting, you stop letting every trigger choose your character. This is not random improvement. This is identity. You are training yourself to become someone your own mind can trust. That matters more than most people realize. Because when your mind cannot trust you, life feels unstable. You make promises and break them. You set standards and abandon them. You decide to stay calm and then give your mood away. You say you will focus and then let every distraction pull you. You say you want change but keep repeating the pattern. Over time, your mind stops believing you. And when your mind does not believe you, confidence becomes fragile. But every time you follow through, trust returns. Every time you keep one small promise, trust returns. Every time you pause before reacting, trust returns. Every time you choose the next right action instead of the familiar escape, trust returns. This is how confidence is built. Not by repeating affirmations you do not live. By becoming a person who proves their own words through action. The person life cannot easily control is not emotionless. They still feel pressure. They still get tired. They still have doubts. They still have mornings where everything feels heavier than it should. They still have moments where old patterns try to return. But they do not surrender the wheel so quickly anymore. They have trained the pause. They have trained the return. They have trained the next step. They have trained the ability to say, "This is hard, but I am still here." That is strength. Quiet strength. The kind that does not need to be announced. The kind that shows up in how you speak when you are frustrated, how you work when no one is watching, how you handle feedback, how you recover after a mistake, how you enter the day even when the day is not easy. That is what inner power is. Not a loud personality. Not a perfect routine. Not a life where nothing goes wrong. Inner power is the ability to come back to yourself when life tries to pull you away. It is the ability to stay clear when pressure gets loud, steady when people rush, disciplined when motivation disappears, calm when your emotions rise, focused when the world is begging for your attention, and responsible when it would be easier to blame. This is the person life cannot easily control, not because life stops testing them, but because every test does not get to rewrite them. A delay does not rewrite them. A difficult person does not rewrite them. A hard morning does not rewrite them. A mistake does not rewrite them. A stressful week does not rewrite them. They may bend, but they return. They may feel pressure, but they choose. They may get tired, but they do not abandon the standard. This is what you are building, one morning at a time. One pause at a time, one focused block at a time, one disciplined action at a time, one thought you stop feeding, one response you choose instead of react. Do not underestimate small acts of control. Small acts repeated become mental strength. Mental strength becomes identity. Identity becomes the way you move through life. And when that happens, life may still be loud, but it will not own you the same way. So do not wait for a perfect version of yourself to begin. Begin as you are. Tired if you are tired. Behind if you feel behind. Unsure if you are unsure. Begin with one choice you can control. One breath, one task, one boundary, one pause, one next right action. That is enough to begin the return. Because the person life cannot easily control is not born in one dramatic moment. They are built in ordinary moments where they choose command over chaos. Again, and again, and again. Become that person. Not someday, today. Become the person life cannot easily control. And now, as we close this audio, come back to the image that has been with us from the beginning. You are behind the wheel. The road is still ahead. The world is still moving. But the question is no longer only where you are going. The question is who is driving your mind. Take back the driver's seat. You are still moving through life. The road is still ahead. Work will still ask something from you. People will still have moods. Problems will still appear. Plans will still change. Some days will still test your patience. Some mornings will still feel heavier than others. But now you know the deeper question. Not just, what will happen today? But, who will I be when it happens? Because that is where control begins. You may not control every event. You may not control every person. You may not control every delay, every message, every meeting, every pressure, or every responsibility. But you can control the mind you bring into it. You can control the first command you give yourself in the morning. You can control whether stress holds the wheel. You can control whether your attention belongs to your future or to every distraction that asks for it. You can control whether an old pattern gets to repeat itself without question. You can control whether pressure turns into panic or becomes something you handle one piece at a time. You can control whether motivation is required or discipline takes the lead. You can control whether you feed the thoughts that drain you. You can control whether a trigger becomes your identity, or just a moment you choose to move through with command. This is the work, not controlling life. Controlling your mind before life controls you. So as you move into the rest of your day, remember this. You do not need to be perfect. You do not need to feel strong every second. You do not need to have every answer. You do not need to fix your entire life before you begin. You only need to return to command again and again. When the day gets loud, return. When stress rises, return. When distraction pulls, return. When old patterns speak, return. When your thoughts drain you, return. When your mood is tested, return. That return is power. That return is discipline. That return is how you become someone your mind can trust. This is Inner Power Audio. A place for calm strength, self-mastery, discipline, emotional control, and the quiet power that begins inside you. If this audio helped you reset your mind before the day begins, subscribe to Inner Power Audio. Share it with someone who needs strength this morning, and come back whenever life feels loud. Before you step fully into the day, take one more breath, loosen your grip, sit a little taller, choose the state you will carry. The road is ahead, the day is waiting. But you are not here to be controlled by every pressure that appears. You are here to lead yourself through it. Take back the driver's seat. Control your mind before life controls you.